Hey guys, Eric with Bama Computer Repair here. I thought I'd make a video on this. Has to do with the Geforce 7900GT video cards within, I believe, Windows Vista as well. But this is Windows 7. Just a basic rundown of what's going on here. Had a client bring a computer in. Originally had Windows XP. Pretty decent system for, especially to run Windows XP. But he wanted to upgrade. He didn't want to buy a whole new system. Basically, he's using a Core Duo processor. He had two of these EVGA 7900 GTs in SLI mode, and so we did a little upgrade on it. Gave him an SSD drive for his OS drive. Gave him 2 more gigs of RAM for a total of 4, and then of course putting Windows 7 on here, so he's up to date. But one thing we noticed is once we got everything installed, anytime you log into Windows, you get some screen distortion and corruption. And here, I'll emulate it for you. I can reproduce it. Anytime you open up Firefox or Internet Explorer, what happens is you get this this crazy corruption on the screen, which is kind of a uniform set of artifacts here. And I originally thought it was, possibly just drivers, so tested out about 5 or 6 different drivers, new and old, third-party ones, one straight from EVGA, straight from NVIDIA. All kept doing the exact same thing. I did a little bit of research, and it turns out, that basically these cards will run in 2D and 3D mode, and they have different memory settings for each of those modes, and whenever it switches over, it basically does that for about 30 seconds and then comes back on, which is quite annoying. Even if you close down Firefox now that we're back, okay, there it goes again. It does it again for about 30 seconds. So I'm not sure if it's some sort of signal, wrong signal that's being sent to the monitor, or what the deal is. But I found some info online that says, if you bump the 2D memory clock settings up just a little bit, you won't have this issue. I tried the EVGA overclocking utility, and for some reason it wouldn't work. It wouldn't even let me change any values. So basically what I did find is a program here called Rivatuner. And basically Rivatuner is an overclocking utility that allows you to change all kinds of stuff, clocks, fan speeds, this and that. One thing I noticed whenever I booted it up, there's no supported drivers detected on this display. So what you have to do is, basically, I think this is an older version, an older program that hasn't been updated in a while. But basically what we need to do is you need to find out exactly what version of your driver that you downloaded from. I downloaded these drivers straight from the NVIDIA site, and it was version 307.74. and what you're going to do is just remember that, go ahead and open up this program, come to the power user settings, or power user tab rather, and then under the Rivatuner system tree, you're going to scroll down to force driver version. And before you do anything, there's a couple settings right here where you can display as hexadecimal or decimal. Make sure hexadecimal is unchecked, so we see the decimal value here, and you're going to put in the version of the driver that you're using. In our case it was 307.74, but leave the dot out of there and go ahead and put that in. Go ahead and hit apply and OK. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow us to reopen up the program. Okay, we're going to open it up, and as you see, this program does require administrative privileges, so the UAC will pop up. Now you see still no supported drivers, but over here, this little drop down box, we can come over here and we can click this right here, system settings. Now this is going to give us the clocks and everything we need. By default this is unchecked, so when we check it, it's going to give us this option, say yada yada yada, reboot is required. Make sure if you do have any other overclocking software running, go ahead and disable it. For me, I could just hit detect now, and this basically gives us the clock settings in standard 2D, low power 3D, and performance 3D. If we switch between these, you notice that in standard 2D we're at 660 megahertz, low profile is 750, and performance is 750. Now all I had to do on this one, and you may have to bump yours up just a little bit more, is you want to bump this up. I bumped it up to 680, 680, and on top of that we want to come over here and check this, apply overclocking settings at Windows startup. We'll go ahead and hit apply here, and that should be good. But basically what's going to happen is, I guess when it switches to that low of a voltage, or that low of a clock on the memory settings, for some reason it just doesn't play right. Apparently this does this with the 7900 GTs, and there's one other card, I can't remember what it was, but and it does it in 7 and Vista as well. Didn't see anything about Windows 8, but let's go ahead and close this, and we'll do a reboot here. And one more thing we're going to have to take care of, we'll do a restart. One problem that was happening with this is, you know, every time it would boot into Windows and display the desktop, it would do this exact same thing. So basically what is happening is, for it to apply these new clock settings, it needs administrative privileges via the UAC. So what's going to happen is it's going to boot up. Let it boot here. Gotta love the SSD in here. Really made the system boot up real fast. But here we go. See, we still got this artifact, and that's basically because the UAC prompt has popped up in the background, and basically we have that just waiting. It usually takes, you know, a couple seconds, 20 to 30 seconds for this to actually switch back. I'm not sure what triggers it to go back into a correct mode where it doesn't do this. But here we got here Rivet Tuner. We'll go ahead and apply that, and that new instead of 660 megahertz on the low profile 2D is now at 680. So now we should be able to launch Firefox, and of course no issues whatsoever. So one other workaround, if you know, basically at this point, while the computer's on, you know, you shouldn't experience that issue anymore. But just the fact that that you have to wait, you know, about 30 seconds after the computer boots up and gets to the Windows desktop, that you have to wait until that goes off. You got a couple options. You can disable UAC. There's also another option where we could possibly disable UAC on an application basis, where, you know, basically we want to say, okay, this program doesn't need UAC. I think I'll make another video on how to do that. You do that within the task scheduler. But if you wanted to disable UAC altogether, just to show you that is what's happening, we will go ahead and disable UAC here. Okay, delete. Okay, okay. Now let's do another reboot, and you will see the screen corruption come up for just a second. But since we don't have UAC, that Rivet Tuner will actually apply those settings real quick without us having to say okay. And I have yet to hook up this second video card and put it into SLI mode, but I imagine I will have to tweak the settings on that second video card as well. Kind of strange. This took me about the video card to display what it's supposed to. Okay, there it goes. That's what it's supposed to do. So we saw that screen corruption for just a minute. Rivet Tuner kicked in the settings it needed, and we're back to the desktop without having to wait. We can launch Firefox without that issue. We can launch Internet Explorer without that issue. But that's a quick tutorial on how I fixed it. I'm gonna go ahead and try to hook up the second card and put it in an SLI and see if we can get it to cooperate. But that's it. If you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll try to answer everything I can. But that's that. Thanks for watching.